Okay. You're about to listen to a podcast full of wonder, excitement, and discovery. It's time for an adventure through Odyssey. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Adventures Through Odyssey podcast, Odyssey Revisited. I'm Will here with Gabe, John, and Liv. The crew's all back together, and we might be adding Leah next week when she's not on vacation. But we would like to say this week's episode is brought to you by Jimmy John's, home of the Slim One. Why in the world are you ordering this? Alright.
Okay, now I'm confused, but okay.
Yeah, no one's gonna... Well, stop putting in-jokes into the podcast, because it doesn't...
So speaking of in-jokes in the podcast, we would like to thank everyone who watched the live show, and we apologize if there were a few too many pot jokes, and if I said something too sexist about halfway through the show. But we would like to assure you, that was a loving jab at Liv's boyfriend, who looks exactly like Eugene, so...
Well, also, it's also, an inside joke between us
Yes. And this
college people.
Yes, from our school, which I will not give the name of, but we are actually going to get started, so people can go Pokemon hunting. Alright. This is album 27, The Search for Whit, by the way. I'm on the right page. Alright, episode 344, Letting Go. Zachary Sellers has trouble coping with his mother's new boyfriend so soon after his father's death.
Was it really that soon after?
They never said. The episode doesn't confirm it.
That would be kind of nice to know.
Either way, I don't think it really matters how long the parent has been dead. It would still feel like too soon.
Yeah.
For the child when the other parent starts dating again.
I agree it would feel too soon, but is this like a month too soon, or has it been 2 years? Because to me, 2 years would be acceptable.
We never know.
Well, I can say that this is pretty accurate, because I've kind of indirectly been involved. My best friend a long time ago, 4 years ago, his dad passed away, and then his mom just got married a few months ago. And even though it was 4 years, they all felt like it was too soon, but that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's another great Zachary episode. Zachary's that weird character who is sometimes likable, we also sometimes make him the biggest D-bag they can possibly make.
Yeah.
Because remember what happened to the Imagination Station?
Is that how he's paralyzed?
That's not how he was paralyzed. I'm just curious, why does the parents, his mom, let him use the whole garage as his train set?
Well, I mean...
Because it's his hobby.
It's his hobby, and, he's paralyzed,
True.
They might only have one car.
It's a good hobby for people, in wheelchairs.
Is it?
I mean, I would say.
I mean, as long as it was on the outside of the table.
Right, I mean... I'm into model railroading, and I've never seen anybody in a wheelchair.
Let's not go into this. We don't want to offend anyone again.
We have not offended anybody on this show.
Well,
Gabe, do you have something you'd like to tell us?
Do we know that?
Well, no one's emailed us saying they've been offended.
What?
And this is the internet. They tend to tell you that sort of thing.
Yes, they do.
It's true.
Very boisterous about that.
Alrighty. BTV Compassion. BTV teaches people about compassion using a variety of skits and sketches. This is one that opens with Eugene at the dump.
Hold on a second, guys. I'll be right back. I have to answer the door.
Okay. So I would have re-listened to this one, but I didn't know I was doing the podcast until this morning.
No problem.
So,
I'll quickly read through the skits. Who's Got Compassion? The story of Bartimaeus. And that seems to be the only one. Oh, and a guy named Marty who wants to see Jesus.
I feel like it's a very forgettable episode, like a lot of the BTV episodes. Most of the skits don't really hold any interest.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I mean, Who's Got Compassion is kind of funny because they don't do a Bible story at least. And this is where you learn the story of Mephibosheth.
Mephibosheth?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, overall funny, but Eugene at the dump stuff is the funniest, just because it's talking about compassion.
Yes.
Compression.
Now, if you're feeling sorry for Eugene right now, because he's my cousin, and you really should.
Yeah.
You know, that plot point that will become important again later. But anyway, we don't have much to say here, so with a little help from my friends, Connie, June, and Sam discussed together with Jason recent events where they gave in to peer pressure.
I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, just trivial stuff. It's not like, oh, someone offered me cigarettes behind the gym or in the locker room or something like that. No, it's just like, I didn't really want to do this, but someone said, let's do it anyway.
What was Connie's problem?
Oh crap. She made fun of the guy at the mall.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
With, like, really
what
ditzy
episode
friends.
Little help from my friend. No,
Is
peer
that
pressure
like-
anonymous.
Yeah.
It's kind of peer pressure, but that's kind of a decision I feel like you make without pressure.
Yeah. That is kind of true, but I mean, at least they become friends at the end and we never get to see him again.
There you go.
I mean, come on. Who didn't
He
ship
uses a
Larry
plot
and Connie?
device.
Yeah, that is true. What? There was something else going... Oh, yeah. So this is a remake of a Family Portraits episode, which is a little more direct about its message. And I actually think this is one of the few times where the Family Portraits episode is better than what they remade.
Yeah.
So, I'll say that, even though it's got kind of an idiotic father in that episode. But I like that they showed peer pressure from all angles. You know, it doesn't just affect rich or poor, black or white, child or adult.
I so
Right.
much like they had someone be like, yeah, someone offered me cigarettes on the playground.
Well,
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed the episode a whole lot more.
Or I was in the back alley and someone offered me pot.
well, this is 96, so I don't know
Mr.
how...
Whitaker.
I don't know how much in effect the drug-free craze was at the time.
Well, that's why I said cigarettes, because that was like a big...
True.
Yeah.
You don't really hear people saying no cigarettes anymore on children's media.
Yeah, because... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see that token episode about not doing cigarettes as much. But
I don't really
anyway,
hear
what?
much about drugs anymore either.
That is true. Now it's all... I don't know, sending inappropriate photos?
That's,
Yes.
It's kind of all do whatever you want now.
True. I mean, Gravity Falls didn't have the token episode where Dipper has to say no to pot. They do have an episode where someone trips out.
on like sugar.
But still, you know, a strong episode, some good jokes. I wish Jason would have told a peer pressure story. But he probably would have gotten to a... What is that?
There's a maintenance guy fixing our fridge. It's dripping.
Okay, sorry everybody.
Sorry, guys.
It's no problem. But, I mean, come on, Jason. Teach Connie how to make raspberry ripple, but he might have started fighting with Jack.
Seriously.
I know. It might have led to a fight with Jack. Who knows?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
everything.
They're not
was
putting Bible
Jack.
verses on their ice cream cones. Oh no.
Jason.
Everything was a fight with Jack.
Yeah, that's our biggest problem with Jack and Jason's dynamic.
Yeah.
You know, until... Oh, rest in peace, Alan Young. Just a year before the DuckTales remake.
Oh,
Well, I guess that means Jack Allen's never coming back, and Jason just runs J&J Antiques from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
he needs another J
Well,
though.
no, because there was one episode where he took over for Whit's End for like a little bit because Whit was out of town or something, and so was Jason.
Yeah. I mean, currently. He's...
Yes, currently,
Yes.
yes.
Jack Allen was on the show up until quite recently, actually.
Oh, okay.
So, blessings in disguise. Brenda's pen pal, Thor Douglas, is coming to Odyssey. Unfortunately, Brenda hasn't been completely honest about herself in her letters to him.
I wish it ended differently.
Oh.
Yeah, the ending's like real kind of bad because like they're both lying and then like the girl's willing to accept that and then the guys are like, that's really boring and just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
They're,
pulled
like,
the twin...
absolute... They were the worst.
Right.
Like,
Paints males on the internet in a bad light.
I guess it's maybe like, I mean, I guess one of them had done it, but it's still like,
Do you want to know what bothers me more about it? Okay, Brenda lying is a bad thing. Really, the dude using his twin is way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Kind of, yeah.
And then, of course, Connie has to come and save the day. Alright, we are possibly losing part of Liv's audio. We're not sure.
Sorry. It's...
We're still ironing out kinks, folks. We're almost at a year, which will be a nice little party episode. We'll break out the bubbly.
No.
We're still gonna act out the skits, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe drink a Wad Fam shot sod or something. But anyway.
I've had a Wad Fam shock, so...
So have I. It was vaguely disappointing.
Pretty unforgettable. Forgettable. Yeah.
Yes.
Whoops.
Maybe we can all go to Focus on a Family together and record one of those episodes you can do in Colorado.
I feel like that'd be trying a little too hard.
Oh, come on. It would be
We're
hilarious.
gonna go record our podcast that they haven't acknowledged.
Yeah. Actually, it would be kind of funny to go to Whit's End and record the podcast. Bob and
That
Jesse
would
show up and hand us a
really
script.
cool. That would be really cool.
Yeah. So if you would like to fund that, the Kickstarter campaign is in the description. I'm just double checking all the things of this episode because it gets a little... I mean, I'd like to think we all, to some extent, lie to our pen pals.
Well, yes.
A lot of people don't have pen pals.
I don't have a pen pal.
Okay,
I used to.
did you embellish anything?
I was in the 3rd grade. Of course I did.
Yes. Did you have...
There is the problem that these
I know
characters are
Will's-
at least in middle school. Like, she's at least in middle school, if not a little older. One, I don't know why you would have a pen pal that old.
I feel like that was a thing in the 90s.
Yeah.
It must have been.
I don't know exactly why it was a thing, but it's like one of those things where like we're just gonna have to accept that it was a thing. And it was kind of cool while it lasted.
I get it was a thing, and I feel like, yeah, it's fine if you want to. I just find it weird that, like, high schoolers... Like, I get it was a big thing with, like, elementary school students.
Oh, Will, you still penned Jezebel Crumb Cake in high school, right?
Oh, very funny.
Sorry, inside joke.
I know. I mean, at least no one asked your pen pal to describe the taste of lamb's eyes.
Huh?
Keep going.
That was an Arthur reference, because we haven't made one yet this episode.
Going.
Oh.
Alright, the time of our lives, in another edition of the Twilight Zone, Rodley Surley hosts a story about why it is important to live your life and not let it waste away.
What's the exact...
This is one where the girl goes into the mall and comes out 10 years later and the boy is being hunted down by the police because he watches too much television.
This is...
Oh, yeah.
I get, like, the Twilight Zone's supposed to be, like, oh... Like, the Twilight Zone is supposed to be, like, these out there things. That's a little too out there, because the scenario itself of just going to the mall or watching TV is not necessarily out there. Like, the chicken episode, the whole idea of you, like, having to, like, obey or get stuff for a toy chicken is out there. The premise is out there. The premise of just watching TV or going to the mall is not out there.
Right.
And also, like, the one where the kid gets attached to his computer.
Right, that was out there because it went crazy.
That's
at
a
the
little
end.
more out there.
But, yeah. What the Twilight Zones I've experienced were more, like, out of reality. Like, everything was out of reality.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, in your town, that's just one thing someone's doing.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem. To me, this is the weakest Twilight Zone episode, namely because it's not shaking in any way.
Yeah, it's just like, it was, they were trying too hard, I think.
Yeah. And then they cross over at the end.
Yeah.
Did they get married for some reason?
That didn't happen.
I thought that...
No, it didn't.
I thought
They went back to their past selves and were like, no, don't do this.
Yeah, but to me it seemed like they were married for some reason at the end of the episode.
Okay, then.
I don't know, maybe that was
I
me.
might have gotten that vibe too
Yes.
at one point, but I don't think that was.
Yeah. All right, so a very poignant question for college students. What are you going to do with your life? Connie wants to know what she's going to do with her life, and so she starts working at various places around town to see what she's really good at.
This is the one where like Connie's like, oh yeah, you're going to be graduating high school soon, and it's been like
Yes. Then
She hasn't graduated yet.
and she orders a truck of napkins.
oh my word. Well, you know that Whit's End is never going to run out of napkins.
Well, I don't know. Kids spill a lot, apparently. I mean, it's all that free ice
Still.
cream.
You know what a shipment is?
Liv, we are trying to keep this G, or at least PG.
No, I'm just saying, this is a ton of napkins, like a literal ton of napkins.
Well, I don't disagree with that. Oh, dear. So, I'll be posting the explicit deleted scenes this week. That might be a better idea. Okay, but back...
You took what I said the wrong way.
True. But back to the actual episode. This was definitely during the we're gonna finally get Connie some character development, and they're doing that again with that one plot point that every episode about Connie has to be about this plot point.
Hey, what episode are we on now?
What are you gonna do with your life?
Okay.
Where did
I'm still trying to answer that question, guys.
I was looking up
Aren't we all?
I was looking up Twilight Zone episode.
Oh, okay.
No.
There's 4 official ones, and then there's the one with like Robin Jacobs being late, where she has a dream, and it was the Twilight Zone,
Oh.
and it like happened like 100 episodes before.
Oh, okay.
The official.
I'm just double checking everything that happened. This is where she gets in an argument with someone at a perfume counter, Hello Doyle's secretary, and then, this is the Eugene gives her an aptitude test.
Oh.
What color do you paint the train?
I still ask people that question. And if you listen carefully throughout the episode, apparently everyone's result is box manufacturing or something.
Yeah.
So, don't know what that says about Eugene's test.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be in such a rush to make lifetime decisions in just a few days, remembering what Tom said. Which Whit would have said, Connie, I need you to stay here.
That's
Seriously.
probably true.
And if you wanted to marry Jason, that would be a plus too.
And stay here, and then you can go in the TARDIS every so often so you don't age.
Yes. And maybe Jimmy will finally come back and proclaim his love for you, because you're about the same age now.
And then you'll both have to live in the TARDIS.
Or just the inspiration station.
There you go.
Which, no idea what it does, but okay. Alright. I mean, decent message. It would be very interesting to listen to an episode like this today. And yes, I am very well aware we just lost everyone's video
I'm sorry.
feed.
I'm sorry.
Keep going.
Okay. Memories of Jerry. Jason tells Connie about his brother Jerry and how he died tragically in Vietnam. While the image is coming back, I would just like to point out, this in a way ties back to this month's club episode, which I did listen to and there will be a review for, but let me just say, addressing the complaint that there were too many non-Odyssey episodes by suddenly inserting Whit into all of these stories was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that doesn't
just
sound very good.
They pretty much just wrote stories and be like, oh.
We can put Whit in here, no one's gonna notice. But
No, everyone will notice.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
True. I mean, this is a fine episode. This is the episode where, he's drafted and the guy tries to convince him to go to Canada.
Yeah.
But they're ginger ale's too sweet or something.
Okay, so this is the episode where, most of this album, we had to do a really weird job in Mackay. And we were cleaning underneath the bleachers. And this story happened to have been a tearjerker, just a little bit. So, can you imagine me trying to clean underneath bleachers and then, just not being okay?
Yeah, it's probably not good.
Where were you during Clara?
I was cleaning the men's room in Ludwig.
Ooh.
hmm
Well, we'll get...
I had to stop and be like, no, I need to walk away from this for just a tiny bit. Just a little bit. I just can't do it right now.
We'll get to Clara when we get to it, but I figured I would just ask, because that's generally thought of as the most tear-jerking episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the death of a certain character, Oddcast.
Oh man, shots fired.
Okay. Very good episode. I'm not a big fan of war stories in general because I feel like they always are awkwardly paced, especially on Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have a good future in them with Sergeant York.
True. And you got this problem with putting them in Vietnam where Whit cannot get much older at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, next thing we know, Jerry's gonna have been in Korea. Wait, Korea happened first.
Yes, Korea did happen first.
Next thing we know, Jerry's gonna be in Iraq. Alright. A question about Tasha. Jason Whittaker and Tasha Forbes are getting married in one day. But their marriage may be put on hold when Jack raises the question of whether Tasha is a Christian.
Oh, Jack.
I get like they
Always
want
stirring the pot.
Yeah.
I get they want to add the point that you should marry a Christian, which is good. And the stuff that Jack says with the whole he did have someone.
Right. Who
I feel like the whole scenario is really
stupid.
Yeah.
She wanted to come. I told her about Christ, but I don't know if she ever came to Christ, and I won't know until that day.
That's also stupid. But the whole scenario of Jason's like, I'm getting married in a day, and then the fact that he hasn't asked, because I feel like although I could see him like being in a relationship and then asking, I feel like he would have asked.
Right. Like
Yeah,
it's really not Jason like.
Yeah.
It's just convenient for the plot.
I get they want to like try to convey that Jason's this total like brash and he'll just do what he thinks is best, but it doesn't fit.
Yeah. And then Tasha comes back in a very weird way.
Yeah.
When she's married to Mitch.
Oh.
That was a fanfic somewhere. No, here's my thing. I feel like every couple of years they have to do the character gets hooked up with a non-Christian episode, and they treat it like it's this earth-shattering event.
It's really not, though.
I mean, I get it's important, don't get me wrong.
Well, yes, it
Let's
is.
see, they've done it with.
But I've
Jimmy
dated
Yeah.
non-Christians before, and really, sure, there were arguments, but like, all in all, it wasn't that bad.
Right? So, I would agree, it's an important lesson to teach to kids, but I also think it makes it sound like, if you date a non-Christian, your life is gonna go down the toilet.
No.
I feel like one problem is though, it seems like it's always like the characters like never ask, and I kind of get that with some characters, but then they're super deep in the relationship. It's like maybe I should ask.
Well, no, Wooten asked pretty early on.
Yeah. Well, like they did it with Wooten, Jason, and Connie. Is that it?
Here's the thing, I will say
There was
this,
one other one.
I feel like the Wooten one's okay because that was his moral standard.
Right.
That he was like, okay, this is what I think, and I don't want to get involved. The other people, I get, you probably should know before you do, before you get married to them. But it's, the whole thing where other
That's the main
characters
thing.
freak out.
Well,
Yeah, like I just feel like it's really not Jason to say we're getting now we're getting married and we're like unclear on this. Like dating, sure, I can see him doing that, but not getting married.
Yeah. All right. Before we keep talking about this episode, I'm gonna just hang up and try to get your guys' video back.
okay.
Okay. All right, I'm switching seats. Okay, we can see Gabe again, and we can see Liv again. Okay, back to talking about a question about Tasha. I mean, it would be interesting to see how this episode would have played out had Whit been here.
Yeah, but I think
He would have freaked out.
Well, yes, but I think Whit would have probably said, I think Whit probably knew Tasha a little bit more than Jason did. So he was like, she's not a Christian, right?
That's true.
But I understand like why Jack asked about it, because he had a tragic backstory, And so...
Yeah, Jack Allen is the character whose backstory becomes more and more tragic every time we hear it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, in a very recent Club episode, we find out something pretty dark about Jack. Everyone who's listening to it kind of knows what I'm talking about.
I have not. I gave up on the club episode.
And you're on this show, Gabe. What a shame. Anyway. No, but I think I understand, dating a Christian is important. Like, for example, if I came to a family reunion with a non-Christian, our grandma would have a fit.
Well, she's gonna have a fit no matter what.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
My mom would have a fit first,
Take that part
so...
down. Okay.
Really?
Okay, my mom might not have a fit. She'd talk to me about it.
Yeah, my
Well,
mom talked to me about stuff like that.
I think we know that you wouldn't get married to a non-Christian, Will. So
That is true. Please remember, everybody, you can contact us in the comments to talk about how you feel about dating non-Christians, because I feel like we're talking about a pretty controversial topic.
But yeah.
Depending on who you ask, I think.
And
Okay.
it also like depends on how willing the other person is to either accept that you're a Christian and he or she has to just go along with it, or are they gonna fight you tooth and nail?
Yes. Not to go back to this, there was a Family Portraits episode where there is a Christian and a non-Christian married, and they talk about it. Let's just say at the end, the non-Christian comes to Christ through the stupidest means possible. Like, they thought the episode was too dark, so we had this really, not slapsticky, but less serious ending. But, okay. And on to the next episode. Blind Justice. Eugene and Bernard are both on jury duty, and while Eugene thinks the defendant might be innocent, Bernard and the rest of the jury are convinced he's guilty.
I like this, despite it's just a ripoff of 12 Angry Men.
True.
I mean, it's exactly 12 Angry Men.
Are you sure it's not the O.J. Simpson trial?
Well, have you ever seen 12 Angry
Yes,
Men?
I've
Well,
seen
they
12.
say it was. No, I think this was before the O.J. Simpson trial.
It was 96. The O.J. Simpson trial would have been going on, I think, or it had just ended,
Oh, okay.
so it would have been on
All right.
everybody's mind.
Alright. So, I understand that now.
Yes. According to the wiki, it is based off 12 Angry Men,
It's
almost
literally,
exactly.
It's almost exactly 12 Angry Men.
Down to the cashew chicken.
I don't think
I know. But, Eugene's the kind of people on a jury would hate.
Yeah.
I mean, I get he doesn't want him arrested,
well, yeah.
but in some ways it also feels like a Phoenix Wright game where they've got to convince where you got to kind of turn the case on its head to find out what's really going on.
Not really, because they don't, find guilty.
True, although they do have to start talking about blowtorches and stuff. John's over there, people, just so you know.
Sorry.
Yeah. Come on, John, come back.
You stole my chair.
You're having a fit because Will stole your chair?
Well, no,
No.
originally I just laid down on the bed for a second, then he took my chair, and then I was like, well,
We can talk about that later,
I
but...
don't really want
Alright, anything else we'd like to talk about with this episode? Talking about tattoo. They kind of have a weird statement on tattoos in this episode.
What is it
I
again?
don't remember what it was.
Some woman says, "Did you see that tattoo? Anyone who would mark up their own body," and that's what she keeps referring to him as throughout the episode. Because I get the feeling Odyssey didn't want to do an episode on tattoos, because that would
Wow, that's
anger...
kind of a strong stance, though.
I mean,
Yes.
that would anger some people.
That would anger me.
Do you have a tattoo,
That-
Liv?
I'm going to get one for my 21st.
Hmm.
It is a thing that's going to happen.
Okay, well,
That's to get a tattoo.
Well, we all know Will has a tattoo.
I do not have a tattoo.
And we know you have the MLP tattoo, Will. Come on.
That never happened.
This week on Gabe Tries to Offend Will after Christmas celebration last week.
What were you doing in Denver when you walked away from the group for 2 hours?
What?
Will
You don't remember that?
No.
That probably did
Alright.
happen.
We'll explain later.
Will can never get a tattoo because has such a low tolerance for pain. He would start crying.
It's the same with Elizabeth. She's deathly afraid of needles, so
Yeah, same
I'm not
here.
worried about her getting
Wait,
infected.
Elizabeth got a nose piercing. How is she deathly afraid of needles?
Well, that's a lot shorter than.
con.
Yeah, that's just like one.
Okay, anyway, alright, we can stop talking about tattoos now. We do not dislike people who have tattoos. Maybe John does a little bit, but
Okay, well,
Unless
don't
you
make
have
that-
like
Stop.
something covering half your
I have
face.
many.
Yeah.
I have friends with
Maybe.
tattoos. Well,
I'm not gonna ask who they are, but I know people with tattoos who are very pleasant people. It just depends
No.
on how weird they are.
Let's drop this.
More
one.
than half of my friends have tattoos.
Okay. Alright, so back to the actual episode. Any other notes before we move on to the search for Whit?
You mean the only episode that was
And
that matters? Everything else is just like filler
Filler.
episodes.
Kind of, yeah.
This whole album was just chock full of just fillers, and then they actually got to the
Since
good
it's called
stuff.
A Search for Whit, you know,
True. It
probably
feels
about
like
a search
filler
for
because it's
Whit.
called a search for Whit. If it was called The Grand Discovery, I'm sure it would not have felt so fillery. But anyway, the search for Whit, parts 1 through 3. Jason and Eugene receive a special message from Whit in the Middle East. One, by the way.
You want to just read all three of them? Real
Yeah,
quick?
part 2. After receiving a tape from Whit, Jason and Eugene go to the Middle East to figure out the mystery of the Q document as opposed to the fifth gospel. Part 3. Whit, Eugene, and Jason race against their rivals to find the supposed burial place of Jesus' bones. I mean, really, the villain in this episode is Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Basically.
Yeah.
Just, he recently got a tour of Noah's Ark, so. But we can talk about how stupid that was later. So, as far as ways to bring Whit back go, I kind of wish it had been a little more climactic. Like, Blackguard shows up again and Whit comes in and just punches him in the face.
Well,
That's something.
I think some would say that's a little anticlimactic.
How's that anticlimactic? Like, Whit jumps out from under the floorboards or something.
So he's hiding under the floorboards the
I've
whole
been
time.
here the whole time.
Okay, I got here last night. Heard Blackguard was
He
a...
goes breaking.
What?
Alright, never mind.
Just say it, Gabe.
No,
Like,
it wasn't funny.
My legitimate question is when they took him, because we knew he was in a archaeological dig in the Middle East.
Right.
I kind of wondered,
Right.
did they have this in mind for if they found a replacement Whit? This is the story they were gonna use.
Yes.
Maybe, I get the feeling, probably the thought was it was going to be a thing where they either go to the Middle East or Whit has, or something goes wrong in Odyssey and Whit has to come back.
These are the first episodes where the new Wick is in there, right?
Yes.
Okay. For as far as I am now, I still don't really notice a huge difference. Every once in a while I'd be like, huh, that doesn't sound like the old Whit, but it's pretty close.
Don't worry, the third Whit's just as convincing.
Yeah.
The third Whit,
Yeah.
there's 3 of them.
Yeah, this isn't the big Whit change that everyone talks about.
Okay.
This is like the best possible case scenario.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seriously, they
Yeah.
could not have
Like-
been more lucky.
Yeah.
But,
it's like a 3 days grace scenario.
true.
That I'll explain later too.
Yeah, you told me about this. But,
Okay.
so, I get a feeling when this episode was written in the 90s, we found weird archaeological elements that maybe disprove the death and resurrection of Jesus or biblical events was a talking point.
Well, that's been going on for since the apostles claimed that said that Jesus rose from the dead. They were like, no, he didn't. So they tried to disprove it.
True.
Have been since the beginning.
True. I just have this feeling it might have been a bigger topic back then. I don't know.
It's probably just more contention
Yeah.
at that present moment.
It's a really Whit thing, though. So
Yeah, it is very much a Whit. Although, why does Whit dress up like a terrorist to scare Eugene on the elevator?
No, he doesn't dress
I
up
don't want to
as a
see that
terrorist.
dressed up as a terrorist.
No, he didn't dress up as a terrorist. He was dressed up as the locals. If you don't know what the locals look like in the Middle East,
Yeah, they're all terrorists, right?
No, I will slap you through this computer.
They
Okay.
will.
No.
I was playing devil's advocate here.
I feel like we should stop talking about the appearance of Whit.
Yeah, we
And
are not.
That's not. No, Will, don't say anything else. Please.
Because we'll plan to talk about when the third Whit comes, of the appearance of the third Whit.
We were not trying to make any terrorism jokes.
Well, I was. That was a terrorism joke.
Thank you, Gabe.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like we need to discuss this episode just a tiny bit more. You know,
Maybe.
Whit's very clever puzzle to get Eugene and Jason to the Middle East.
Yeah.
They address Eugene becoming a Christian.
Here's the thing: was Whit worried about someone like intercepting that message?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like basically people just send everything to Jason for some reason.
It's like he was.
Well, he's a secret agent.
True. Eugene sent the disc to Jason. That was a terrible, terrible imitation of Whit. But here's the problem with this episode. I remember quite a bit of it, but it really only stands out because of the one moment where Whit comes back.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
weird, because it just kind of feels like, oh, Whit's back. Then we just kind of go back to business as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember a lot more about when he actually comes back to Odyssey.
Yes.
This is the part where they're like at the airport and there's going to be like a
There's
parade.
like a whole welcome committee and a parade and just
Yes.
And then Bart Rathbone screws a bunch of stuff up.
yep, he like sets the
fireworks
park on
off.
fire or something.
Yeah, something like that. Connie's late.
Oh, and then she starts crying.
Yeah,
Then we get a
Classic
nice
Connie.
big hug at the end.
of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Alrighty, so, well, that wraps up the episode, I think, unless anyone has any other notes.
Nope.
And that wraps up the album, so what is everyone's final rating?
Oh man.
I'll give it
I
like
want to say a 5.
Yeah, I'll say a 5 just because none of the episodes are bad, but they're all forgettable.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
I'll
like
give it a 5.5.
I forgot.
Because I like the search for Whit.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you, Gabe, but I'm also giving it a 5, because I like the search for Whit, but it's really built on that one moment where he reveals himself to Eugene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of it just kind of feels very... There were probably better ways to officially bring Whit back.
Yeah.
But,
Just see, it would have been funny. What they do is, people are just like, I thought I saw Whit! And it's just like it's like two people like, I swear I saw him! And it's just people freaking out.
I would have liked an
Yeah.
episode where it's like, I don't know if... Who's that kid who's like really paranoid about everything? Is he there yet?
Jared, not yet.
Yeah, where he's like walking around
That
Odyssey,
would have
like
been funny.
searching for
Jared,
Whit.
I
and
love
then
Jared.
He thinks
Jared,
Whit is
the-
someone. He's like stalking him for 2 weeks. And
It would have been so worth it to wait 6 months for Whit to come back just so we could have Jared. Do
Yeah.
it.
Jared's great.
oh, I saw
Like,
Whit. I swear I saw Whit.
Jared, the little conspiracy theorist.
Yep. I'm just checking.
No, it's like, it's a whole album story, and it's Jared just moved, so he doesn't know who Whit is, but he's like tracking some
Yeah.
mysterious man.
I would so be into that.
There's like some weird old guy that keeps going in like different costumes, but he knows it's the same dude. It's like there's someone following me.
Can we have Whit leave again and have Jared come back to Odyssey just so we can have this episode?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, that wraps up this episode. Join us next week when we will talk about album 33, Virtual Realities. Or I guess we want to keep the Whit return momentum going. We can do album 28, but I like.
Should we just go back to numerical order?
We could, but then I'd have to figure out what numerical order is.
We gotta go back a long way.
We were never going in numerical order, everybody.
Okay, yeah,
I like
never mind.
the jumping around helps us get through lulls like this
that's
album.
true.
So album 33, Virtual Realities, and this week's trivia question comes to us from myself again, because no one felt the need to write a trivia question. John.
Do you ever
Never
ask us?
ask.
Well, I ask John all the time, but if anyone wants to give
I
you...
got stuff to do!
Okay, feel free to email me trivia questions, and if you catch any cool Pokemon and name it after anyone on the podcast, let us know. So, in the episode...
Could be offensive.
So in the episode,
Same.
basically the 3-part wedding episode, I can't remember the title of. What don't they put on?
For whom the wedding bells toll.
Yes, I couldn't remember the name. Parts 1, 2, and 3. What don't they put on Jason's burger?
The burger.
I'm going to throw. I don't think I've heard this episode, so I'm going to take a
Isn't
wild swing.
You've heard it. It's where Jack and Joanne get married.
Oh, okay. I'm going to take a wild swing at this. They didn't put mayo on it.
No.
Isn't it they don't
Wild
put
swing.
the actual burger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put everything on this Maxi Deluxe
That's
burger
actually a really
except
funny
the
scene.
burger.
Now that I remember it.
Yes.
You have Connie so that Connie when she's yelling reminds me of when your dad orders at a drive-thru.
No, that's me. Remember what happened at the Dairy Queen once? Just for everyone's, just for context, my car is super low to the ground, so I don't really come face to face with the microphones. Like I have to shout up.
I've seen it. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been in the car multiple times. And
All right. Well, anyway, so next week, album 33. You know where to find us in social media. I'm Will.
I'm John.
I'm Gabe.
And I'm Liv.
We'll see you next week.